Hi guys, I'm Bruce from Fast Fights magazine and this is Triumph's new Speed Triple 1050 RS. So for 24 years, Triumph has had a Speed Triple in its range, but never before has one been so powerful, so lightweight, or so technologically advanced. This is Triumph at its best. So I've been riding this bike here in Almeria in Spain for the past couple of days, through rain, through shine, on road and on track. But before I tell you what I think of it, this is what Triumph have told us about the bike. So technically, this bike isn't all new. The frame, the swing arm, they're carried over from the last generation Speed Triple. But aside from that, pretty much everything else is ground up and it's a really exciting package. Let's start with the engine because that's where the real difference lies. So power's up 7%, torque is up 4%, and the reason for that is that there are 105 new components in the motor alone. It's got new valves, it's got a new cylinder head, a new airbox, new pistons, it's had the works done to it. So why so many changes? The old Speed Triple motor, in Triumph's opinion, had got a bit soft. It just wasn't as vibrant and zesty and pokey as a lot of the rivals in that class. In a market that's moved on so much since the last iteration of the Speed Triple came about in 2015, you've seen bikes like the Tuono V4, the 1290 Super Duke R and the BMW S1000R come about, all making 160 brake horsepower, and that kind of left the Speed in the dark. It was becoming a little bit mediocre. Even its smaller capacity sibling, the 765, was starting to bite at its heels. What else is new? So up at the front end, we've got some super sexy black anodized Öhlins NIX cartridge forks. And at the rear, there's a race spec TTX shock that's fully adjustable for compression, rebound, and preload. To help even more, Triumph have kitted the bike out with some really, really nice looking 5-spoke lightweight wheels, which reduced unsprung weight and helped the bike to turn. The brakes are also worthy of a mention. The Speed Triple's kitted with Brembo's M4 4-pot calipers, which are the kind of thing you'd expect to find on any premium sports bike. The package needed to get a lot smarter. Triumph gave this bike the same 5-inch TFT dash that you'll find on the 765. It's also the hub for a whole host of technology. So just like the 765, this bike comes with 4 different riding modes: road, rain, sport, and track. And you can also customize a map to suit your preferences. 2 new additions to the Speed Triple for the first time ever are cruise control and heated grips. And to prove Triumph have really moved into the 21st century, they've even gone keyless. So what do all these changes mean? Well, I've been riding the roads and track at Almeria to find out. Probably ridden about 200 miles on this bike so far, and the first thing that hit me was how agile the bike felt. You can make bikes feel sharp handling, etc., but then they lack stability, and it wasn't until we got out on some mountain roads that I realized not only was this bike agile, but it was also planted. If you've ridden any Speed Triple of late, you'll know that they have this beautiful plush feel to them. This does not lack that in any sense. If anything, the package has got even more agile, even more sharp, even more effortless, and even more endearing. I mean, there's just a charm to the way this bike handles. So many bikes lack. It is the easiest handling naked bike I've ridden probably ever. And the thing that makes the package even more brilliant is the way the engine connects with that chassis. So you've got a great handling bike, but you've got a motor that teases you power as you need it, along with a raucous exhaust note that really, really gets you buzzing. It's such a lovely noise. You can hold your gears quite long on this bike as well. So one of the changes to the motor is a new configuration of gears. They are a little bit taller because there's more power. Triumph thought, well, why not up the ratio? That's what they did. And the beauty of that translates when you're actually out on the kind of roads we've been riding, where you actually want to hold a gear a little bit longer. You can get away with doing that kind of stuff. In the lower gears, you'll never find this bike lacking in acceleration. It's an absolute rocket ship. And in fact, you spend most of your time with the dash lit up because the traction control is engaged, the front wheel's off the ground, and it's trying to stop the bike from doing a loop-the-loop. But even when you're in, say, 4th gear and you're riding at 4,000 RPM, you can still depend on the triples motor to pull you up to speed. You can be really lazy with this engine. I'm a lazy person. I know you can get away with just leaving it in any gear, twisting that throttle and leaving the motor to work its magic. Obviously, there's only so much you can get away with on the roads, so to really explore its potential, we took it to the track. I knew this bike was going to be good. From the simple fact that it's got such premium suspension on it, to the fact that it's got such a proven chassis on it, it's got great brakes, it had all the ingredients you'd expect to find on a motorcycle that is going to be able to put in fast lap times. But until you ride it, you just never know exactly what you're going to get. Almeria is a challenging track. It's very fast. Some of the sections you've got to hold, say, 3rd, 4th gear for long periods of time. It's more about how you flow through the corners than accelerating up to them, braking, turning, etc. It's quite a challenging track. So what was it like? Well, it was fantastic. It was a very, very planted bike. It was a very agile bike. I never felt out on a limb. There were a few times where maybe I did push my luck a little bit, running curbs and stuff like that, just to find the quickest line. But the suspension just seemed to suck up whatever I threw at it. To make sure I found my potential and I was taking this bike to my limits, my good friend Gary Johnson, 2-time TT winner, was chasing me around the track. And let me tell you, neither of us wanted to give in to the next. We were passing each other pretty much every lap, having a top laugh and just exploring the brilliance of this bike here. My favorite thing about the bike is the front end feel. It's one of those bikes that you can absolutely launch into a corner, miss the apex, give a load of brake, even at full lean, and never feel like you're going to lose the front. Fair enough, it comes with some super sticky Pirelli Supercorsa rubber, but actually the reason you can abuse this the way you can is because of the chassis. The geometry of this bike is brilliant. Triumph knew before they took this on that there was no point in changing anything about the frame and the swing arm because they'd already nailed it. So obviously I spent quite a lot of time on this bike, riding around the track as hard as I could, and I was really impressed by how comfortable the package was. It wasn't vibey either. I didn't get numb fingers or numb feet or anything like that, and had no complaints in that department on the road either. The RS comes in at 13,250, but there's also a lower spec S version of the bike, which is priced at 11,350. It's a really fantastic bike. Loved it, can't wait to clock some more miles on it. Big question is, has Triumph managed to re-hooliganize this bike? You make your mind up. For the full lowdown, pick up the April edition of Fast Bikes magazine.